ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा, भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा। ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा, भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
संस्कृति का वैभव जग में सबसे न्यारा,
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
भारतीय संस्कृति का वैभव जग में सबसे न्यारा, ज्ञान और विज्ञान यहीं से सबने पाया सारा, सबने पाया सारा। कुछ धूलों से हारा फिर से जीते देश हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
शील सेवा व्रतधारी युवा जगे पुरुषार्थी,
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
त्यागशील सेवा व्रतधारी युवा जगे पुरुषार्थी, वैज्ञानिकता विनय सभ्यता स्वभाव हो निस्वार्थी, स्वभाव हो निस्वार्थी। देशभक्ति में तेजस्वी हो फिर समाज यह सारा, गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
शिवाजी बुद्ध गगन के तारे,
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
महावीर गोविंद शिवाजी बुद्ध गगन के तारे, परंपरा की पुण्य चेतना उर में हम सब धारे, उर में हम सब धारे। बाल हृदय में उसे जगाकर जगे देश यह सारा, गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
समर्थ बनाओ।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
त्यागो सारी दुर्बलता को राष्ट्र समर्थ बनाओ। बंधु भाव समता ममता से सबको गले लगाओ, सबको गले लगाओ। चलो विवेकानंद मार्ग पर शुभ संदेश हमारा। गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा। ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा। भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा, 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 गीता परिवार हमारा।
अधरं मधुरं वदनं मधुरं नयनं मधुरं हसितं मधुरं हृदयं मधुरं गमनं मधुरं।
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्।
वचनं मधुरं चरितं मधुरं वसनं मधुरं वलितं मधुरं चलितं मधुरं भ्रमितं मधुरं।
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्।
वेणुर्मधुरो रेणुर्मधुरः पाणिर्मधुरः पादौ मधुरौ नृत्यं मधुरं सख्यं मधुरम्।
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्।
गीतं मधुरं पीतं मधुरं भुक्तं मधुरं सुप्तं मधुरं रूपं मधुरं तिलकं मधुरम्।
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्।
तरणं मधुरं तरणं मधुरं हरणं मधुरं स्मरणं मधुरं वमितं मधुरं शमितं मधुरम्।
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्।
कुञ्जा मधुरा माला मधुरा यमुना मधुरा वीची मधुरा सलिलं मधुरं कमलं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गोपी मधुरा लीला मधुरा युक्तं मधुरं मुक्तं मधुरं दृष्टं मधुरं शिष्टं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गोपा मधुरा गावो मधुरा यष्टिर्मधुरा सृष्टिर्मधुरा दलितं मधुरं फलितं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
सद्गुणों की साधना में ध्येय ज्योति नित जले सद्गुणों की साधना में ध्येय ज्योति नित जले संग्राम में जीवन धरा
अधरं मधुरं वदनं मधुरं नयनं मधुरं हसितं मधुरं हृदयं मधुरं गमनं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
वचनं मधुरं चरितं मधुरं वसनं मधुरं वलितं मधुरं चलितं मधुरं भ्रमितं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
वेणुर्मधुरो रेणुर्मधुरः पाणिर्मधुरः पादौ मधुरौ नृत्यं मधुरं सख्यं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गीतं मधुरं पीतं मधुरं भुक्तं मधुरं सुप्तं मधुरं रूपं मधुरं तिलकं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
तरणं मधुरं तरणं मधुरं हरणं मधुरं स्मरणं मधुरं वमितं मधुरं शमितं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
कुञ्जा मधुरा माला मधुरा यमुना मधुरा वीची मधुरा सलिलं मधुरं कमलं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गोपी मधुरा लीला मधुरा युक्तं मधुरं मुक्तं मधुरं दृष्टं मधुरं शिष्टं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुरु सुधारि बरनौ रघुवर विमल जसु जोदायकु फलचारि बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरो पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेस विकार जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर, जय कपीसति लोक उजागर। रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा, अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा। महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी, कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी। कंचन वरन विराज सुवेसा, कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा। हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे, कांधे मूज जनेऊ साजे। शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन, तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन। विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर, राम काज करिवे को आतुर। प्रभु चरित्र सुनिवे को रसिया, राम लखन सीता मन बसिया। सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा, विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा। भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे, रामचंद्र के काज सवारे। लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए, श्री रघुवीर हरषि उर लाए। रघुपति कीनी बहुत बड़ाई, तुम मम प्रिय भरतहि सम भाई। सहस वदन तुम्हारो जस गावे, अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे। सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा, नारद सारद सहित अहिसा। जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते, कवि कोविद कहि सकै कहाते। तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा, राम मिलाय राजपद दीन्हा। तुम्हारो मंत्र विभीषण माना, लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना। जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु, लील्योताहि मधुर फल जानू। प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माही, जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही। दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते, सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हारे तेते। राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे, होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे। सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी सरना, तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना। आपन तेज संभारो आपे, तीनों लोक हांकते कांपे। भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर जब नाम सुनावे। नासै रोग हरे सब पीरा, जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीरा। संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे, मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे। सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा। और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे, सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे। चारों जुग परताप तुम्हारा है, प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे। अष्ट सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता, सवर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा, सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा। तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघुवर पुर जाई, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई। और देवता चित्तन धरई, हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई। संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा, जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई। जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई, छूट ही बंदी महा सुख होई। जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा, होय सिद्धि साखी गौरी सा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा, की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा। की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा। पवन तनय संकट हरन, मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय बसहु सुरभूप। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय।
Jai Shri Krishna all. I, Jarna Makhija, feel greatly honored to represent Geeta Pariwar, a global organization which is spreading the message of Geeta worldwide. I warmly invite you all for this yet another session of Bhagavad Gita interpretation, where we all on the Zoom platform have become a virtual spiritual family, together learning to live Gita. I bow down with reverence to the subtle presence of our Param Pujya Swamiji Acharya Govinda Devagiri Maharaj, who is always guiding and blessing us. A very, very happy Janmashtami to all of you all are in a festive mood. So today, on this sacred occasion of Janmashtami, we should remember that we should not only celebrate the birth of God, but we should invite His consciousness to awaken within us so that we have clarity of thought. May we traverse the path of truth and have a flute-like surrender, devoid of any ego. And yes, how do we achieve this? We achieve this with total surrender, bhakti, and faith. We need to understand that Krishna is incarnation of wisdom, love, and dharma. And he has provided us with this incredible manual to live life. Yes, Śrīmad-Bhagavadgītā. We should begin our session with a prayer. The prayer today will be taken by Shobha Didi Agarwal, who hails from Delhi, and she has joined Geeta Pariwar in March 2020. Didi is a co-trainer of L1 and she is a retired bank professional. Didi, kindly take the prayer.
Jai Shri Krishna. वसुदेव सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं श्रीकृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं. जय श्री कृष्ण.
After this warm prayer by Didi, we shall move ahead for Deepa Prajwalan. May we kindle the lamp which ignites brightness in our lives and does away with all the negativity. Our Deepa Prajwalan will be taken by Chetana Sharma ji, who hails from Odisha. She has joined Geeta Pariwar in June 2024, and Chetana ji is a tech star as well as an L1 trainer. Chetana Didi.
निषिद्धैरप्येभिर्लुलितमकरन्दो मधुकरैः करैन्दोरन्तश्छुरित इव सम्भिन्नमुकुलः विधत्तां सिद्धिन्नो नयनसुभगामस्य सदसः प्रकीर्णः पुष्पाणां हरिचरणयोरञ्जलिरयम् शरदिन्दुनिभां शुभ्रवस्त्रैरलङ्कृतां कलहंसकृतावासां वरदां शारदां नुमः.
Beautiful Deepa Prajwalan, Chetana ji, and with this beautiful array of hibiscus flowers, the flowers are best at his lotus feet and on the plant itself. Now, we need to understand that we all have tasted the nectar of understanding Geeta ji, trying to learn it. So we need to spread it also. There is another new batch beginning on September 5th. So we should involve in propagating about it in our family and our relatives, and always try to share the Vivechan link to our family and relatives so that they also can taste this nectar and imbibe Geeta ji. So now, for beginning, we shall take a brief introduction. As Lord Krishna has said in the 9th chapter, Jnana yajjena chapyanye yajanto mam upasate. It is such a matter of honor and privilege to welcome such a worshipper and a torch-bearer of spiritual knowledge, respected Vikas Vaidya Bhaiyaji. Vaidya is not only an interpreter of Śrīmad-Bhagavadgītā, but he has dedicated his entire life to share the spiritual knowledge over the years. His teachings are beyond words. He is a living expression of Geeta ji. Bhaiya ji does interpretations of Vishnu Sahasranam. He is a mentor, trainer for all the trainees. Bhaiya ji has chants Geeta every day, and this has been his practice over the years, which makes him such an esteemed speaker, a highly qualified scholar, and his commitment is not only academic but highly devotional and transformative. He has traveled across the globe and has a command over many languages. And this has allowed him to understand and interpret several texts. Adding to his achievements, there is a very big achievement where he has achieved a first prize at Sringeri exam from the hands of Sri Shankaracharya ji, which is a moment of scholarship and spiritual depth. I invite Vikas Vaidya Dadaji to guide us on the second chapter interpretation so that we understand it. A very warm welcome, Vikas Bhaiya.
जय श्री कृष्ण वसुदेव सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं जय श्री कृष्ण ऑल। पूज्य स्वामी जी के चरण कमलों में कोटि कोटि नमन, उनकी सूक्ष्म उपस्थिति को बार बार नमन। We are discussing second अध्याय सांख्य योग. Last time we discussed up to श्लोक number 44. Let us start with slok 45. Today we'll have to cover a few more sloks because the time is very short and we'll have to wind up this adhyay in the next session. So today we'll try to cover as many sloks as possible. Okay, so we start for slok 45. Traigunya vishaya veda nistraigunya bhavarjuna nirdvandvo nitya sattvastho niryogakshema atmavan. Arjuna, the Vedas deal with three types of gunas, attributes, and their evolutes, different combinations of these three gunas. Be free from these attributes. Don't get attached to any of this. Rise above these three gunas. Become nirguna. Nistrai gunyo. That become nirguna. Also rise above the polarity of opposites. Dvandva. Nirdvandva. That is rising above the polarity of opposites. And remain balanced. Nitya sattvastha. And be unconcerned about your wants, yoga, and preservation, kshema. Don't worry about yoga, your wants, and don't worry about preservation of what you have, that is kshema. And get established in self, Atmavan. So, Traigunya Vishaya Veda. Here the reference is to the ritualistic portion of Vedas, which deal with three gunas and their evolutes in the form of worldly and heavenly pleasures and enjoyments. The purpose is to demean Vedas. No, it is not the purpose. The purpose is not to demean Vedas, but to glorify the selfless spirit. When we compare a diamond with a piece of glass, for example, what we say, the idea is to stress upon the glaze of diamond, not to degrade the glass, but to encourage, to glaze the glaze of diamond be compared with the glass. Vedas do not deal with only the means to satisfy the desires, but also contain the sublime and great transcendental ideas on God realization. So Sakam Karma is only a small part of Vedas, but most of the people concentrate only on that small part of Sakam Karmas, and they focus on doing those karmas to attain something, to gain something. Paramatma is deploring that attitude. Nistrai Gunya Bhavarjuna. Arjuna, be free from these three gunas and their evolutes. That is, be free from the worldly pleasures as well as the means of attaining such joy. Nirdvandva. Be free from the pair of opposites such as attachments and aversion, sukha, dukkha, favorable, unfavorable, profit, loss, jay, parajay. These are all the dvandvas. Paramatma is asking Arjuna to become nirdvandva. That is, get away from these dvandvas. Because they are the enemies of human beings. And they are stumbling blocks in our spiritual progress. In third adhyaya also, if you remember, there is a shloka, Indriyasyendrasarthe ragad dvesho vyavastito tayornavasham agachet tauhasya paripantino. It is in our pantha, in our marga, this is a stumbling block. So do away with that. Then nitya sattvastha. The advice is to rise above the pair of opposites and get established in the omnipresent and eternal God. That is nitya sattvastha. Niryogakshem. Niryogakshem. Paramatma says in 9th adhyaya, yoga kshema mahamyam. To take care of your yoga and your kshema is my responsibility. Now here he says, niryogakshem. Do not have desire even for getting something. That is called yoga. To attain something, to gain something. And preservation of what you already have. That is called kshema. So go beyond this. Become niryogakshem. The God is, in reality, knows better than us what we need and what we need to preserve. So who are we to tell God what we should get and what we should preserve? Paramatma says, niryogakshem. And become Atmavan. Now having the only aim of God realization, get established in the pure self, is becoming Atmavan. That is, focus more internally than focusing outwardly. That is getting Atmavan. Now actually it is difficult to translate the word guna, nirdvandva and nirguna. So becoming guna is very difficult to translate in English. We translate it as attribute, quality, but that is a very rough equivalent of guna. Sri Krishna says everything in the universe is a combination of these three gunas, sattva, raja, tamo, in varying proportions. We human beings are also considered to be varying combinations of sattva, raja and tamo. Evolutions means we have to rise from tamas to rajas, rajas to sattva, and ultimately from sattva to nistraigunyo, gunatit. This far-reaching concept of rising from tamo to raja, raja to sattva and sattva to gunatit, it not only accounts for the way in which human beings are expected to conduct themselves in daily life, but also gives guidelines as to how we can proceed on the path of evolution. Let us first take how we can rise from tamo to raja. Let us focus on our good old friend tamas. Tamas is inertia, ajnan, darkness. Tamas shows itself in not wanting to move, alasya, not wanting to act. In other words, it wants to keep lying like a dead stone, just lying on the road. It is all right for the stone to be inert, because it is the dharma of stone to become idle and keep lying on the road only. But is it all right for us to do nothing and try to avoid problems? And to say that, what does it matter? How does it matter to me? The phrase we often hear is that he or she is well adjusted in the situation. This is an escape route. When you don't want to do anything, you say, I'm well adjusted in this situation. I don't want to do anything. But this is not a favorable comment to get adjusted in all situations. Some situations are dangerous to get adjusted into. Very bad. Rather, we should keep acting on to set it right, to set right the situation. If we get well adjusted in today's extra domination of Islamist jihad, is it a good adjustment? We don't do anything to protect our Sanatana Dharma, and then we say, we are getting well adjusted. Is it a good adjustment? It is our tamoguna which is making alasya in us and which is teaching this, that get adjusted. And never get adjusted to such situations. Rather, we should try to change the situation. This tamas inertia in Hindus is causing them to get adjusted in present situation, but we will have to face consequences, very severe, serious consequences of this inertia of tamoguna of Hindus. So be aware. Then in order to transfer tamas to rajas, what we should do? There is a series of simple steps we all can take in our daily life for changing from tamas to rajas. Postponement, delay is a very close friend of tamas. In one of the ways to tackle inertia and expedite its transformation into rajas is never to delay anything. As soon as a good thought comes, act on it. Don't delay it. Immediately. Act on it immediately. So immediately is one of the favorable word of spiritual masters, gurus and yogis who live completely in the present. Kabir Das says, कल करे सो आज करे सो अब, पल में परलय होएगी बहुरी करेगा कब. This is what our masters, our gurus teach us. While these tamas people have exactly opposite attitude in their life. They say, आज करे सो कल करे सो परसों, इतनी भी क्या जल्दी है, अभी तो जीना है बरसों. So this is tamas attitude, and we need to change it drastically to make it कल करे सो आज कर. So second attribute, one on which we should concentrate, is concentration itself. Concentration is perhaps the most effective way of transforming tamas into rajas. Tamas people, even they are enthusiastic in the beginning, they will begin to work with gusto, with enthusiasm, but within a very short time, their moral collapses. That is the shortcoming of tamas guna. They often complain, they are bored. Bore ho gaya yaar, bahut ho gaya abhi. Like that. This is the tamas attitude. The answer to this boredom is to give a little more attention to what we are doing. Any job, the moment we attend it completely, becomes interesting. When we start taking interest in what we are doing, it gives us confidence and energy. If a job bores us, we should not yield to tamas, but should give more attention to our work and try to increase our span of concentration. If today you are able to concentrate for 5 minutes, tomorrow try to concentrate for 7 minutes. After that, 10 minutes. So slowly try to increase the duration of your concentration in whatever you do, whether it is spiritual sadhana or any other work. This will not help us getting over our tamas guna. It will also help us immensely when we enter into meditation. People often complain. This is tamas vritti, tamas attitude. They complain in the beginning of meditation that it is very boring. Meditation is very boring. But when they get used to doing meditation, they cannot live without meditation. So if you win over tamoguna, then you have got excellent prospect of doing meditation undeterrently, continuously, every day. Now transformation of rajas to sattva is also not extraordinary. Because all of us have an element of sattva guna in us. All of us have that. We are all sattva guna to some extent. We all have the capacity of, to some degree, to forgive and friendliness. So these two qualities are sattva guna, and we all have that. It is already there in us. We just need to extend it slowly to include a wider and wider circle in these two gunas of forgiveness and friendliness. There is no human being who does not have the element of tamas. There is none who does not have the element of sattva. Everybody has tamas, everybody has sattva. As tamas becomes transformed to rajas, and there is more and more energy available to us, because rajoguna gives us more energy. There is more capacity for productivity when rajoguna comes. And that rajoguna energy, we should act for karma, for service, for seva. We must harness this newly acquired energy from rajoguna to act into sattva guna. In the context of today's lifestyle, some words of caution should be said here now. So there is a vital need for hard work in today's life. Yes, everybody agrees. We should take care that we don't get caught in the work only. We see many people, particularly in the IT industry, who become victims of work, who carry their work from office into their living room, then onto their dining table. इधर खाना खा रहे and laptop is open, seeing if some message is there. So this new culture of work from home, it will take that laptop from dining table to your bedroom. The home has become a 24 hours work office for that. We should do our work with concentration and yet be able to drop it with complete detachment at a minute's notice. This frees us from tension and enables to give our best when we start reworking again. If you are working for all 24 hours, your mind gets sluggish. You can't take good action. You get overburdened. So you should know when to detach, how to detach quickly. The characteristics of a person established in Sattva Guna are calmness, compassion, and complete fearlessness, abhay. When the mind is agitated, judgment is likely to be clouded. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita says we should never undertake any action when we are angry or afraid. Such action is not likely to be correct and effective. At any time our mind is agitated, the chanting of mantra is a great help. When your mind is agitated, disturbed, start chanting the mantra given by your guru or whatever way you have learned that mantra. It calms our agitation. And when our mind is calm, judgment becomes clear. So we should know when we get over anxious, over excited, chant mantra. Make your mind calm and then go ahead. Then the judgment will be clear. Another capacity of Sattva Guna is the capacity to forgive. Shama. Most of us perhaps are not aware how under the surface level of subconsciousness, old resentment keep burning. Somebody has insulted me in the past and it keeps burning in our subconscious. Old hostilities keep flaming up time and again. A sudden agitation or a sudden depression is often caused by old resentment. We are sitting idly, we are not doing anything, but mind keeps thinking, it goes in the past and it starts remembering some insult, some bad incident that has happened in your life. And then you get disturbed for nothing. Because those memories are still there in your subconscious. If you forgive, then subconscious is clear. Then that will not cause you any problem in future as well. Finally, Sri Krishna concludes that it is not enough if we transform from tamas to rajas and rajas to sattva. We must go beyond sattva also. Nistray gunyo. Going beyond three gunas means going beyond time, beyond space, and beyond the thoughts of cause and effect. Going beyond the death to eternity, immortality, and infinity. So these are the three gunas which Paramatma says we should try. You know the story of those three friends who wanted to pluck mangoes from his tree. We'll discuss that story if the time permits in our question answer session. Okay, let's go to shlok number 46 now. Shlok 46 reads, Yavan udapani sarvata samplutodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanataha. As on obtaining a reservoir of water flooded from all sides, there is no use of a small pond or a pothole of water. So, an illuminated man who has realized the God, he has little or no use of the sakam karmas mentioned in Vedas. A smaller reservoir of water is useful in a place where there is no other source of water. But nobody will pay attention to such a reservoir of water when there is a big reservoir of pure water. If you got an ocean full of pure water, why will you go to stand in a municipal water connection for a bucket full of water? Will you do that? When your house is full of food grains, will you stand in a queue for ration for a couple of kgs of rice? Your house is full of food grains. When you are owning a land of say 500 acres, will you pay any attention to a small piece of land say 20 feet by 10 feet? No. Or when you are getting filtered fresh corporation water through tap in your kitchen, will you go to the community tap in your lane to get a bucket full of water? No way. Similarly, an illuminated person who has found the answer to the great questions as who am I? Where do I come from? What is the purpose of coming in this world? Will he have any attraction to the perishable physical amenities of this world, this material world? One who has attained Atma-dhyan, for him there is nothing to be achieved by performing Sakam Karmas. He has attained whatever has to be attained. So Sakam Karmas are of no use to him, no importance to him. The oblations, the charities, yajna, dana, penances, that means the tapa, and pilgrimages, yatra, tirtha yatra, etc., mentioned in Vedas are of use. They are of use for those who have to attain fulfillment of some desires, Sakam Karma. But these become meaningless to the illuminated, God-realized person. Because whatever is obtained through these Sattvic Karmas, he has gone beyond that. A great soul who possesses knowledge of Lord, the Vedas and scriptures, is called Brahmanasya Vijanata. So when he is already Brahmanasya Vijanata, what he will do with those Sakam Karmas? He neglects. He does not give importance to Sakam Karmas. Okay, Shlok 47, very famous Shlok. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala heturbhur mate sangostva karmani. Now, you have only the right to act and perform action. You have right only to do your karma. And how you perform those actions is also up to you. But you cannot dictate the fruits of those actions. Karma phala, you can't dictate that I want this karma phala. It is not in your hands. Hence, don't perform actions for the occurrence of any desired results. I want to get that, that's why I'll do this. Don't do this. Lord further adds, you should also not get attached to inaction. Let us not do anything. That is inaction. God says, don't do that also. Don't get attached to inaction as well. In this shloka, there are 4 points which need our attention. First, your right is to perform your duty, your action only. Second point, never lay claim on the fruit of your karma, karma phala. Third, don't be the cause of fruit of action. Fourth, let your attachment not be there in inaction also. Now, out of these 4, the first and fourth, that means your right is to perform your duty and let your attachment not be there in inaction also. These 2 things have the same theme as both lay emphasize on performance of duty, kartavya karma. Similarly, the second and third point, that means never lay claim on the karma phala and don't be the cause of karma phala. As both these it is mentioned that you should not desire or become a cause of the fruit of action. I want to get this karma phala, that's why I will take action. Don't become that cause of your action. It means that by being in action, we will become tamasic. The meaning of this shloka is this. If you enter into inaction, that you will not do anything, then, as we discussed earlier, then you are becoming tamasic tendency person. By attaching to the action and its fruit, you will become rajasic. Isn't it? It becomes a sakam karma. So you become rajasic. But when the seeker is free from laziness, idleness, actions, and fruits of actions, he gets joy born out of knowledge and the light. And having attachment to it, he has affinity to sattvic temperament. Okay, these are all good things. But you are getting attached to all this. If you are getting sattvic temperament, you are getting attached to your pride in getting knowledge. Affinity with this is the cause of birth and death. Whether it is sattvic affinity, rajasic affinity, or tamasic affinity. Therefore, Paramatma says nistraigunya. Therefore, a striver should not have attachment to either of them. No attachment to sattva, no attachment to rajasic, no attachment to tamo. Doing one's duty without having any attachment to them is called discipline of disinterested action. That means Nishkama Karma. Because we read in the 14th Adhyay that Sattva, Rajo, Tamo, all these 3 gunas create bondage on you. That's why Paramatma is asking us to go beyond these 3 gunas. Sri Krishna says, do karma does not mean have any expectation of fruits, and do not expect actions of fruits, actions of your karma does not mean don't do the karma also. Now, while taking care of the children, the parents are not expected to have an expectation that in their old age, the son will take good care of them. That's why I'll take care of this son now, so that when I get old, he will take good care of me. This is not correct, Paramatma says. Plant a tree, but not expect that you will get the fruits which will be born by the tree. But that does not mean you should not plant the tree, isn't it? Break the relationship between karma and karmaphala is the message of Lord in this shloka. That is called Nishkama Karma, Nishkarmya. Giving up doing of karma is not Nishkarmya. Nishkarmya does not mean don't do anything. Nishkarmya means do the karma but get detached from the karmaphala. That is Nishkarmya. We grind chutney in our mixer every day. But whether we grind chutney or masala or something else is not decided by that mixer. We decide that, no? The mixer has no likes or dislikes that I want to grind chutney. Will the mixer say like this any day? Similarly, when I grind for you, what will I get also not be to be decided by the mixer, isn't it? This, of course, does not mean that we should live a total mechanical life like that mixer. But the only message is we should understand the principle behind it and perform our duty as our prescribed duty with total devotion. Whatever karma I am asked to do as my kartavya karma, I will do it with total devotion without any likes or dislikes. When there are clouds in the sky, the wife of a Kumar, the potter, she will pray to the God. Oh God, don't allow rains to fall for a couple of days. We have just prepared new clay pots. They are yet to dry also. If it rains, we will suffer a great loss. At the same time, the wife of a farmer is praying to the God. Oh God, we have done sowing of the seeds in our farm. Please allow the rain to fall now. Don't delay. Otherwise, we will suffer a great loss. Now, when there are such contradicting demands from the human beings, what the God will do? People are asking contradicting karma phalas. What the God is supposed to do? The wife of a doctor, for example, she is asking for a diamond necklace from her husband. She is praying to the God, let the practice of my husband prosper, because then only I can buy the diamond necklace. That means the God will have to spread disease and send many patients to that doctor so that he can earn more money. And here, people like us, what we pray to the God? God, please never send me to the hospital. Please don't send me to the doctor anytime. Now, what should the God do? On a lighter note, we must say that the COVID epidemic that came few years back, probably the prayers of medical fraternity were accepted by the God. That's why all of us had to go to God, to the doctor. In the process, doctors became very, very rich. Okay, that's apart the point. Let's not discuss that. Now, God wants us to do good for all. But if He keeps listening to all the requests from human beings, it will be impossible even for the God to work. So our opinion and our demands have no meaning at all. We should keep performing our duty, and whatever is thought appropriate by the God, we will get it without even asking for it. We should have that confidence in God, that God knows better than me. That much we must accept, no? That God's understanding is better than our understanding. He knows what is good for us. Why you to demand? We have to fold your hand every day, stand in front of God and say, give me that, give me that, give me that. He knows what you want really. Just stand. Just pray to the God for your own self-satisfaction, for clarity of thoughts, for purity of heart. Rest of the things, leave it to Him. Don't ask for anything in return. Therefore, Shri Krishna says, keep working without any expectations of your actions. That will make your life tension-free and happy. We should try it. Go to the temple, fold your hands, chant your mantras, and don't ask anything. Don't ask anything. Come out without putting any demand to the God. You will feel very, very light. Because when you put the demand, then the tension comes. Will the God fulfill my demand or not? Will I get that or not? We're not asking for anything. There is no anxiety, no tension in your mind. Okay, next sloka 48. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjayo siddha siddhyo samo bhutva samatmai yoga uchyate. This is the cardinal principle of Bhagavad Gita. Samatmai yoga uchyate, equanimity. Dhananjaya, that means the conqueror of wealth. Dhananjaya, perform actions, your kartavya karma, your duties, being steadfast in the path of yoga. Which yoga? Samatha yoga. Principle of equanimity. Renouncing attachment, having become even-minded in success and failure, and that equanimity, equilibrium, is called yoga. Samatma yoga uchyate. This is $1 million statement from God. We should always remember this. Samatma yoga uchyate. Sangam tyaktva. You can become indifferent only if you have no attachment for action. Then you become sangam tyaktva. You don't have attachment to the fruits, place, time, incident, circumstances, bodies, minds, etc. No attachment. Which belong to the matter. Because without being indifferent to actions, this can lead you to liberation, salvation, moksha. And that is what we want. Siddha siddhyo samabhutva. Paramatma says, siddhi and asiddhi remain equipoised. A man should be even-minded in favorable and unfavorable situations, in honor and dishonor, in praise and in criticism. Now, is it possible? A person who remains equipoised in honor and dishonor, this can happen only to two types of people. One who is little crazy, he doesn't understand anything, or one who is very arrogant, he doesn't bother about it. We are neither. So this case, what Paramatma says, Siddha Siddha Samabhutva, is the stage before performance of karma. Not after performing of karma and getting the karma phala, but before you perform the karma, make your mind stable and make it firm in these thoughts. Siddha Siddhyo Samabhutva. God, I am performing this karma. Karma phala, whatever it is, siddhi or asiddhi, I will remain the same. So this thought, this feeling, this bhav in our mind is a stage before performance of karma, not after performing karma. As I said, when you karma phala comes, everybody knows whether it is honorable, is it honor or disrespect, this is favorable or unfavorable. So you cannot equate both equally. That honor and dishonor is same. Nobody will say that. But this is the way you have to prepare your antakarana, your mind, your heart, before you start performing the karma. Then you will focus better on that. If your focus is on the karma phala, then the siddha siddho will never happen. That's why you should perform your siddha siddho first and then perform the karma. Time is not there, but I will tell you small incidents in our day-to-day life. There is a case of surgeon, for example, an excellent surgeon. He performs operations day in and day out. Hundreds of operations, he has performed thousands of operations he has performed in his life so far. He has saved life of many people. We know many surgeons like that. Excellent, skillful in their job. Every day he takes a knife in his hand, he keeps cutting the bodies left, right. Sometimes the patient survives. Few times the patient may die also. But does the doctor feel guilty that I have murdered somebody? He is doing his work with full concentration, full skill. So the result of the karma that he does, it does not bother him because he has applied his mind to the fullest. But when the case comes and his only son is to be operated, he hesitates. Why? Because the thought comes into his mind, what will be the karma phala? If I perform the operation and if I don't get success, then my only son may be in trouble. He will survive or may not survive. When that thought enters about the result of your karma, the mind gets disturbed. Then he will go to the another surgeon. He says, please operate upon my son. I don't want to do that. Why? His skill has reduced or what? He's same doctor, same skill, but now his sights, his thoughts are on the karma phala. Every day he is performing operations. He was not getting disturbed because he is applying his mind fully without getting attached to the karma phala. But when the case of his son comes, he gets attached to the karma phala. and then the disturbance starts. So God says, don't do that. If you are under the impression that if your sights are not are not on karma phala, then your skill will reduce or your result will reduce, you are under wrong impression. Remain equipoised. Okay, yogastha kuru karmani. Next is yoga. The essence of truth or true yoga lies in even-mindedness. Yogastha. In success as well as in failure. The person who keeps the mind even in these situations is called steadfast yogi. Sameness of mind should remain intact from beginning of karma till the end of karma and even after. It should not be a temporary phase that you become yogastha for a moment and then you start getting disturbed. This has to be a permanent, inherent nature of you. Samatma yoga uchyate. Yoga is nothing but equanimity. Samatma yoga uchyate. Samatma is called yoga. Equanimity of embodiment of us is yoga. If we can follow this principle, then we are yogi. Then we are yogi. If we can follow the principle of samatma in our day-to-day life, then we are yogi. In Shlok 38, if you remember, God had asked, Sukha dukhe samay kritva. Now he is saying, in addition to that, you should give up expectation of karma phala. Only sukha dukhe samay kritva nahi. But you go beyond that. Don't expect karma phala and don't have the sense of doership. I have done this. Nitya sattvastha, samatva, equanimity and nirdvandva. Three things. Nitya sattvastha, samatva, equanimity and nirdvandva are the steps. Shri Krishna is asking us to go beyond nirdvandva, karma phala. And our ego of being doer karma is the real dvandva in our mind as according to Geeta. This is the root cause of all our problems, that I have done this. When I have done this, then you start expecting. When you say, I have not done it, somebody else has got it done from me, then the expectations are less. Then there is no dvandva in your mind as well. When we say, I do the karma, let us discuss this. When we say, I do the karma, who exactly we mean by I? Who is this I? There are 60,000 millions of veins, 30 trillion cells in our body, and 38 trillions of active bacteria, jivanus in our body. They work, that is why our body is enjoying its existence. Then karma is done exactly by which cell, by which bacteria in our body. Karma is done by hands or by brain, or by the power that inspires brain to do karma. That means when we say I do the karma, the credit automatically goes to those cells, those bacteria in our body, or that power which gets it done from us. Then the question still remains, who exactly has done the karma? The answer is that there is something other than the body which we consider as I, that power, that life force, it does the karma. Then why should we, that means the body, take the credit for doing the karma? When we know that some external power has got the karma done from us, then the credit goes to that power, not to us. But we start claiming, I have done the karma. I usually tell the story of that very fat, very bulky Marwadi who was weighing 120 kgs, living on 4th floor of a building with no lift. He used to get, doctor asked him to reduce his weight. He used to get down, take a walk of 2-3 kilometers, climb again go to his shop, climb down again go up. Every day he was doing this to reduce the weight. One day he went for a morning walk, fell down on the road, got a heart attack, died on the spot. People took his body with great difficulty, put it in the car, brought it to his building. How to take it to 4th floor, such a bulky body? And when the body is dead, it becomes even more bulky, more difficult to lift. With great difficulty, people took his body to the 4th floor. Half of them thought we are going to die now on this staircase only. Now the same body is doing up and down every day, many times. Who was doing that? The body is still intact. The hands, legs, eyes, ears, everything is intact. But the body cannot move. It cannot do the daily movement it is for doing for years. That means somebody else was getting it done. We human beings find it difficult to hold that body and keep it up and down, but some life force was doing it very easily day in and day out. So it is that life force which we should give credit to for all the karmas that happen through us and not claim the credit for anything. That is the message. Now, is it easy that we follow this principle of equanimity in our life? Everything is same. We should remain equipoised in all situations. It's a very tough task, very difficult. How difficult? Quite difficult. A small story. There were two loving brothers, Sam and John. Sam was in army and John was doing a flourishing business. The soldier brother, that means Sam, was involved in the Vietnam War, US Vietnam, what we know. It was finally, he was finally coming home, having fought that war in Vietnam. He called his dear brother John from San Francisco. And he said, "Dear brother, I am coming home." The John and his wife were very, very happy, they were overjoyed. And they said, "Oh, we are hearing your voice after a long time. We are eagerly waiting for you. Please come as early as possible." So this Sam, he said, "I am coming, but I have to share something with you." John, his brother, said, "What is that?" He said, I have a friend with me, and I want him to live with us. I will bring him with me. So John and his wife said, "No problem, our house is big enough. He can stay with us for a few days. No problem, bring him." Then this Sam said, "But you should know something." "What is that?" This friend of mine, he has lost his one hand and one leg in the war. And I want that he lives with us permanently. And this fellow was shocked, John and his wife. They said, "How is it possible? We have our own life, our own happy life. Every day, this fellow without hands and legs, he comes in front of us. Shall we remain happy in our life? Every day will be a bad day for us then. So don't bring him to us. We love you, but we can't take care of such a person who has no hand and leg. So don't bring him. He will find his own way to live. We should not worry about such people." Then this fellow Sam, he hung up the phone. He did not say anything. He did not call them again. After a few days, this John got a call from police, New York police, that your brother Sam is dead. He probably jumped from a tall building in New York. Can you come and identify his body? So the Sam and his wife, very, very, very unhappy, very sad. They went there. They identified the body of that person, their brother, dear brother, and they were shocked to see that brother Sam, he had lost one leg and one hand. The body did not have that. So when he was talking to his brother, he was talking of himself. And when he got this kind of answer from his brother, that we cannot take care of such a person who has no hand and no leg. Equanimity. Can we remain equipoised in such situations? Very difficult. To learn this principle is easy, but to implement in our day-to-day life is not so easy. We have to be firm in our mind that I have read Gita, I will remain equipoised come what may. Then only we can really live Gita in our life. As Pujya Swamiji says, Gita padhe padhaye aur jivan mein laye. This is the way to bring it in our life, to remain equipoised in all situations. So let us go to next sloka now. Durena yavaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya buddhau sharanamandvichha krupana phalahetavaha. Paramatma says, take refuge in the attitude of detachment and you will amass the wealth of spiritual awareness. The man who is motivated only by the desire for fruits of his action, that means karma phala, is miserable indeed. Krupana phalahetaha. Miserable is the word used here to describe people who are caught in results only, karma phala. Such people do not have any peace of mind, God says. They are filled with anxiety. Am I going to fail? Am I going to succeed? Only these thoughts keep coming in their mind when their focus is on karma phala only. They begin to use unscrupulous means once they become afraid of not achieving the results they desire. somebody is afraid he will pass in the exam or not, what he will do? He will learn the technique of copying in the exam. Sri Krishna says, whatever you do, therefore, do not get caught in the result. That is for me to give. Rest assured, you will get what you truly deserve, as long as you have used the right means and strived for a selfless goal in your life. Durena, Paramatma says Durena. As light is opposite or contrary to darkness, similarly, an action performed with equanimity of mind is contrary to the action performed with the selfish motive of Sakam Karma. They are called Durena. An action performed with equanimity leads to God realization, because Samatma Yoga Uchyate, and Samatha is the attribute of God himself. If we acquire that, then moksha is not far from us. While the action motivated due to the results, due to karma phala, will bring us to the cycle of birth and death. So decide what we want. If you follow the principle of equanimity, we get moksha. If you follow the path of sakam karma, result motivated action, then we come back to the cycle of birth and death. What do we want? Paramatma says, choice is yours. Buddham sharanam vichcha. Take refuge in this evenness of mind. This samatha yoga, surrender to this samatha yoga, follow it in your day-to-day life. Krupana phala hetavaha. It is very lowly to crave for the fruits of action. Leave all that to God. But the way things are with us, do we live in this? With this principle? A very common grievance is, I did so much for that other person. What did I get in return? I did not get anything. Or, I will do such and such thing for him, but he should remember that I have done it and he should return my favor with interest. Sri Krishna says, drop this attitude. Do your karma and forget about it. Once a sage, he saw a scorpion. Scorpion had fallen in the pool of water. The poor creature was in pain, the scorpion, and was desperately trying to get out of water. The sage very compassionately picked up that scorpion from the water, and it was just about to place that scorpion on the ground, on the dry ground. The scorpion stung him on the hand. The resultant pain made the sage hand quiver, obviously, and the scorpion again fell back in the water. The sage again lifted it. He again stung it. Again lifted it. Again stung him. One fellow was watching it. It kept on happening for a few times. You know, a well-wisher was passing by, and he said to that, he saw that this entire drama. Then he said to that the sage, why do you bother about helping this creature when it is repeatedly biting your hand, your very hand which is helping him? The sage responded, saying that, my dear fellow, it is scorpion's nature to sting, and it is sage's nature to be compassionate. He is following his dharma. Why should not I follow my dharma? If a scorpion cannot forget his nature, his dharma, can a sage abandon his dharma? This is Nishkama Karma. You are not getting appreciation for what you are doing, but you still keep doing your kartavya karma. This is a perfect example of Nishkama Karma Yoga. And moreover, he is not reminding God to make a note of his good deed, his sattvic karma, his punya karma. Now in contrast, in our day-to-day life, we will call upon God to witness every small good thing that you do. God, see, I have done this good thing. Watch, take a note of it, enter it in my balance sheet. When a disciple asked the Guru, his master, I have heard all your words of wisdom. Now tell me, when will I get liberated? The Guru replies, you will never get liberated. Why? Because if you don't get the conviction of being liberated, despite listening to the supreme knowledge, when will you get liberated then? 6 months from now. This liberation happens in a flash of a moment. Here you listen to the words and the words enter your mind, and the intellect in that very instant, you realize that you were always liberated. You are always free. Nobody is binding you. These bondages are created by you yourself. When we read Gita, we realize that we are always bondage free. All these attachments, aversions we have created. God did not create it. You are always under some imaginary bondages. You realize instantaneously that I am eternal, primordial, and infinite, like the God. What an irony that until this moment, I had been accepting the limitations of mind as my limitations and was being fearful, anxious, and miserable. I made it myself. What a relief that I have finally awakened from the dream of this inherent sufferings of this phenomenal world. Now I know the reality that I am not under bondage. Gita is to be studied with this conviction. Every word of Lord said in Gita is to be deeply absorbed in our mind and our intellect. A deep contemplation has to be practiced, and soon we will also realize the same, that we are already liberated and our fears and bondages were useless, temporary, and not worth getting entangled into it. So this is what we learn. When we learn Gita with full concentration and do our own contemplation, we'll get this message by ourselves, within ourselves, that we are already liberated. Okay, Shlok 50. Buddhi yukto jahatiha ubhe sukrita dushkrute tasmad yoga yujyasva yoga karmasu kaushalam. Paramatma is endowed with equanimity. One frees the self in this life from good, that is punya, virtue, and evil, that is vice, pap, alike. Ubhe means both. Ubhe sukrita dushkrute. Therefore, devote yourself to this yoga of equanimity. Skill in action, karmasu kaushalam, lies in the practice of yoga. Buddhi yukto jahatiha ubhe sukrita dushkrute. A person endowed with equanimity, samatha, becomes free from virtue and vice alike, like the omnipresent God. In the state of equanimity, samatha, a man by living in the world detaches himself from the world. He lives in the world but detaches himself from the world and remains untouched by the pap and punya, like a lotus leaf by water. Man identifies himself with the body, and that is the problem. That is why the virtues and vice accrue, pap and punya accrue, because we consider ourselves a body. So every karma done by body, I say, I have done it. If you have done it, then face the music. Face the music of pap and punya. If he does not identify himself with the body, he will remain untouched by the pap and punya, sins and virtues, like that lotus leaf in the water. Tasmad yoga yujyasa. Therefore, make yourself to the yoga of equanimity. Establish yourself in the yoga of equanimity. That is, remain established continuously in equanimity. You cannot attain that equanimity so long as you have attachment and aversion. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. Skill in karma, your action, lies in the practice of samatha yoga, principle of equanimity. Now, yoga karmasu kaushalam may have two meanings. Karmasu kaushalam yoga, that means skill in action is yoga. This could be one meaning. Second meaning is karmasu yoga kaushalam. That means in action, yoga is the skill. If we interpret that skill in action is yoga, skill in your karma is yoga, then a thief will say, I have done this job, but I have done it so skillfully that nobody can catch me. So he has done his skill in his chaurya karma. He is stealing something. Does he become a yogi then? So karma yoga kaushalam is the real meaning. That means you perform all your actions with samatha yoga, then that is the skillful work. That is the kaushalam karma. When you can perform karma with equanimity, that is the skill. So every karma that we perform, it should be with equanimity, then our karma becomes kaushalam, skillful karma. We are all engaged in this karma chakra. How to come out of this chakra of karmas? Sri Krishna is showing that path to us here. He is asking, do you want to keep rotating in this chakra of life after life keep facing the Sukha Dukkha, or do you want to get rid of this chakra? I have kept away for you. That path is Samatha Yoga, equanimity, yoga of equanimity. You see, as the wheel of bullock cart keeps rotating in the moving cart, and the spokes of that wheel also keep rotating with the wheel, isn't it? The spokes also keep rotating with the wheel. That means when the spokes are a part of wheel, they will have to keep rotating with the wheel. No one can stop the action of a moving cart. Then what is the way out if you want to get rid of this rotation? For that, the axle around the wheel and the spokes, the wheel and spoke keep rotating, but the axle is steady. Axle doesn't rotate. No? You will have to take the role of that axle in the wheel. It is always steady. The wheel and spokes are rotating, but the axle is steady. That skill is yoga of equanimity, samatva. If we continue in the role of that spoke, then we keep rotating. Then rotating is inevitable. We should adopt the role of axle, which is equanimity. Okay, Shlok 51 now. Next shloka. Paramatma says, Karmajam buddhi yukta hi phalam tyaktva manishinaha janma bandha vidirmukta padanga chantyana mayam. Arjuna, as wise men endowed with equanimity renounce the fruits of action, karma phala, they are freed from the shackles of birth and death, attain the blissful supreme state. Karmajam buddhi yukta hi phalam tyaktva manishina. An action even without the desire for its fruits will bring about a fruit. A farmer is sowing something in the field without wishing anything, even that something will come out, no? Every karma has a phala. A farmer sows seed without selfish motive, will he not get the corn in the field? Yes, he will. He will definitely get. Similarly, if a person works in a detached spirit, he will get the fruit. Detached spirit means no fruit? No, that's not the reason. That's not the way. Therefore, renunciation of fruit means renunciation of manifest and latent desires for fruit and attachment to the fruit. Yan bhavandha vidarmukta. Those following the path of equanimity of mind are freed from the wheel of birth and death. As in the state of equanimity, they do not in the least possess evils such as attachment and aversion, which are the root causes of rebirth. Padangachyante namayam. Amayam is some disease, ailment. It is a blemish, amaya. A thing which is free from all sorts of blemishes is called anamaya. That means spotless. Wise people endowed with equanimity attain this state of anamaya, spotless, eternal state. This shloka proves that karma yoga, that means the discipline of action karma, is an independent means for liberation, salvation. By karma yoga, the renunciation of world and attainment of God both are achieved. For Lokmanya Tilak, Gita was a text of karma yoga. For Ramanuja, it is a text of bhakti yoga. For Adi Shankaracharya, it was a text of Vedanta. Such an intricate web spun by Sri Krishna in Gita that Gita is an endearing to the dualist as it is to the non-dualist. Here, hence Krishna says to Arjuna that you can get instantaneous liberation, salvation, provided you attain an equanimous intellect. The only one whose intellect is equipoised has the capability to knowing that his real nature is ever free and never in bondage. On the contrary, the one whose intellect is agitated by the waves of desire and karma phala, he will not be able to digest and absorb this knowledge. So to absorb this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, you have to rise above all this, our vikars, our weaknesses. What we see today is that when faced with difficulties, we remember God. We need to remember He Nitya. Nitya, always. Kabir says, दुख में सुमिरन सब करे, सुख में करे ना कोई. जो सुख में सुमिरन करे, दुख काहे को होए? So we should always do Sumiran of Paramatma, Nitya, always, whether we are in happy mood or in stressful mood. The principle of Karma Yoga is that one should be able to relinquish, give up expectations, sense of doership, give up, and vasana, lust, and ahankar, ego. You attain skill in performing karma if you follow this. Then you become a karma yogi. We all visit that sari shop. The male servant there has a special style of convincing his customer. He says, this sari in my shop is very, very guaranteed. Fast color, very good. He keeps telling, I, my shop, my shop, my shop. It is not his shop, he is only servant there. A day comes when his owner asks him to get lost. Go, you are fired. When he comes on the road, he realizes, what I was calling my I was selling all the saris as my shop, nothing was mine. Same thing we realize at the end of our life. That whatever things I was saying, my, mine, everything, nothing was belonging to me. I was alone, I am alone, I will be alone only. Nothing belongs to me. But why to wait for that moment? When we are fortunate to read Gita today, why not we realize this today that nothing belongs to me? I came empty-handed, I will go empty-handed. Alexander the Great, he died saying that my hand should be kept open like this. Let the world know that I came empty-handed. Alexander the Great, he came empty-handed and he left the world empty-handed. You are also same. Okay, let us go to next sloka, 52. Yada te moha kalilam buddhirvyatirishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. Paramatma says, when your mind has overcome the confusion of duality, when it has become nirdvandva, you will attain the state of holy indifference to the things you will hear and things which you have already heard. Being allured and absorbed in material world is like getting in a swamp, in daldal, in marshy land. Mohakalilam. Whenever your intellect gets thus enchanted, giving rise to attachment, know that it is entrapped in swamp. When you start getting this feeling, know that you are going in daldal. When you get too much absorbed in your attachments around you, how will you then follow any path, be it Nishkama Karma Yoga or Dhyana Yoga or any path of knowledge? If you want to get liberation, you have to come out of this daldal, no? Mohakalilam. So the first task is to get your mind out of that swamp, that daldal, that I am stuck in. Make it radiant, pure and serene. And then this is possible in the presence of vairagya, dispassion. So Sri Krishna says, listen to what I am saying. For only by listening, the fire of dispassion will blaze in your heart and raise all your attachments. And eradication of all attachments will purify your intellect, your buddhi. In our mind and our intellect, clear when we look at world, is our mind clear? Is our mind intellect clear? Or we mix our likes and dislikes? What kind of people do you see around you? A long time ago, a saint was living on the banks of river Ganga. One morning he was sitting, taking bath in Ganga with his disciples. Just then a passerby came. And he asked Gurudev, how are the people of this village? I want to move away from my village, from my present place of residence. So how is this village? How are the people here? The saint asked him, will you please tell me what kind of people live in your village where you are living now? He said, don't ask Gurudev. All kind of wicked, evil and bad people live there. So Gurudev replied saying that in this village also same. You will find exactly the same kind of people here. After some time, another passerby came, crossed, and he asked the same question to Gurudev near Ganga. I want to live here in a new place. Can you tell me what kind of people live in this village? Gurudev said, what type of people are there in the place where you are living now? He said, well, there are people who are very civilized, wise and good people. Gurudev replied, you will find exactly the same people here. Civilized, well settled, and very good at heart. His disciples were watching. As soon as the man left, they asked, Gurudev, why did you speak so differently to different people? To one person you said, all wicked, bad people are here. And to another person you said, all civilized, well settled, good people are here. Why different answers? About the same village? The saint said, with seriousness in his voice, my dear disciples, my dear Shishas, usually we do not see the world around us as it is. Rather, we see it with what we are ourselves in our own, what we are within. If we are crooked in our mind, we see the world crooked. If we are clear, pure in our mind, we see everybody around us in the same vision. There are all kinds of people everywhere. It depends on us what kind of people we want to see. Often we look at others with the same perspective as we ourselves are. For the first passerby, all villagers were hypocrites, wicked, evil. Because of his own tendencies were like that. Whereas for the other passerby, everyone was civilized, settled, good at heart. Because he himself was civilized, calm, wise. The saint said, with his note of seriousness in his voice, always remember one thing. We see the things around us just as we are. As our vision, so is our world. Okay, next sloka 53. Paramatma says further. यदि विप्रतिपन्नाते यदा स्थास्यति निश्चला समाधावचला बुद्धिस्तदा योगमवाप्स्यसि. Arjuna, after your intellect, confused by hearing conflicting doctrines, has become stable and firm, steady on God, you will then attain self-realization or union with the God. The Lord says to Arjuna that your mind is currently confused by all the do's and don'ts given in the scriptures or given in the Vedas. We also get confused many times. What is the right thing to do as per our dharma? Once the intellect is out from the mud swamp of moha, then only it will attain vairagya. When confusion goes out of your mind, then only you can attain vairagya. Vairagya about all that you have heard and all that you will hear. When your intellect confused with different doctrines will get established in samadhi, when you are clear in your mind, no confusion in your mind, then only you can get established in samadhi. Then only you can attain to samatha yoga, the yoga of equanimity. If your mind is clustered with so many thoughts of dvandvas, how can you get established in samadhi, or how can you follow the principle of equanimity? See, the scriptures give us so many different rules on social conduct. One such rule is that children should obey the commands of their parents. Very good to hear. Thus many parents exploit this principle by saying that हमारे ग्रंथों में लिखा है that children should follow their parents, making them conform to their wishes. And Pandits, while conducting marriage, they quote and brainwash that they are now bound to each other for not one or two, but for 7 lifetimes. 7 जन्मों के लिए आपका बंधन है अभी. So many rituals and rites are pumped in your mind, citing Vedas at the source. In other words, the Lord is saying that not everything mentioned in Vedas has to be taken literally and regarded as being set in the stone. पत्थर की लकीर नहीं है. For example, if listening to everything your parents say was rigid concept, then Shukadeva was the son of Maharishi Vedavyas, would have never left his father and gone to the forest. Vyas took quoted Vedas and said to his son Sukadeva that scriptures don't advocate that the son should leave his parents and go away. Shukadeva had replied at that time to Maharishi Vedavyas, Father, whose father? I am an independent being. I needed a body to continue my spiritual practice, which I left half done in my previous life. I was looking for a body, seeking an opportunity, and seeking an opportune moment, I acquired the body by taking birth through your wife's womb. Now, what will you say to this logic? But of course, you have to be a jnani of that level, then only you can make such arguments. How many couples are aware of to whom we will be born, or who will be born to them? Which child will be born to them? A sinner, a womanizer, a yogi? Who? They do not have a clue. It is sheer accidental that they end up conceiving. Their entire life is in effect a series of accidents only. Conceiving also is an accident. And then they insist that their children get married and end up going through the same accident-prone life through which they have gone. It is like a blind leading to another blind. They have not understood life themselves and they want to educate their children and follow the same path of blindness. You get so brainwashed by all the scriptures that you get filled with guilt and attachment sometimes. So a bride gets indoctrinated, advised into believing that her husband's home is her final destination. You are married और यही घर तुम्हारा घर है अभी मायके में वापस नहीं आना. No matter what happens, she should not return to her parents' home. The saying says, डोली में जा और अर्थी में आ. Not otherwise. The only way she can leave her husband's home is in her coffin. Is it right? Does it sound logical when the husband is a maniac, a violent person, beating his wife day in and day out, insulting her day in and day out, makes his wife's life a big hell? Should we still follow this principle? The groom, on the other hand, is given a grave sermon on how difficult it is to bear the responsibility of married family life. He should take care of entire earning for the whole family, leaving all domestic work to his wife. He should not do domestic work. That is what they say. Can we follow it today? An IT couple, both are earning good, both are earning equally well. Maybe the wife is earning even more than the husband. In that case also, only wife should do the household work. Today, fortunately, it is not so. In IT industry, many husbands, they do the job of cleaning of utensils. They have to participate in the domestic activities as well. So, where to apply these principles, we have to use our own judgment. Paramatma says, it is not a patthar ki lakir. Time was there when these principles were followed, but with time we have to change. Scores of such doctrines instill the guilt and attachment in your mind. It is no wonder then that your intellect, which is stuck in all sorts of attachment, always lies in conflict and agitation. Whether the husband doing household work is good or bad, you get confused. The scriptures say no, only ladies should do it. Why you are doing it? You get confused. What is right, what is wrong? The daughter is coming back because her husband is troubling her every day. Is it right or wrong? Get confused. Scriptures say one thing, actually something else is happening. Paramatma says, whatever you have heard and whatever you will hear, all this confusion will get erased. Paramatma says, a confusion-free mind is a prerequisite for being able to do Nishkama Karma. So, Hridaya Pradipannate Yadastasya Nishala Samadhavajala Buddhistada Yoga Vapsis. So let's go to next shloka. Arjuna. He's asking a very pertinent question now. Sudha Pradnyasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshavo siddhih kim pravasheta kimasita vrajeta kim. Keshava, it is very nice to hear all this, samatha and all that. What is the trademark of a person with steadfast wisdom, Siddha Pradnya, who realizes God? How does such a person, such a man of firm wisdom speak? How does he sit? How does he walk? So if there is a Siddha Pradnya who is equipoised in all situations, how does he look like? Does he have a horn on his head or what? How do we identify that he is a Siddha Pradnya? After hearing Lord's talk so much about the process of entering Nishkama Karma and the intellect which has transcended all dilemmas and confusions, now Arjuna is keen to know the characteristics of such a person. He is very curious to know the distinguishing features of such a person whose intellect is in perfect equipoise, samatha, and established firmly in the Supreme Parabrahma. how this person looks like. Arjuna has grasped this much that no one can stay without doing any karma action. This much is understood. For even if you relinquish everything and go and reside in any corner of the world, you will still have to eat, you will still have to drink, you will have to still sleep, isn't it? You will have to do some actions to obtain food for your body. And in that process, you will have to interact with some people, even if you don't know them. And while interacting with all sorts of people with diverse nature and temperament, if your intellect is not equanimous, then it will keep on getting agitated. फिर क्या फायदा हुआ घर रोड के वहां पे जाने का? If someone verbally abuses you, you will get angry. If someone praises you, you will get happy, elated. If someone offers you quick ways to get rich, your greed will push you further down. The Lord is putting it so clearly and firmly here that live amongst all, but have nothing expected from them. Be unrelated, therefore perform actions desirelessly. So such individuals are perfectly geared up to live in this world because they fearlessly perform all their actions without worrying whether they will fail or they will succeed. Only when you are blinded with ambitions can there arise the possibility of making error, making mistakes. And when you become careless, mistakes become inevitable. One who is established in wisdom of equanimous intellect, samvata buddhi, is neither excited nor fearful. So he remains unaffected by success and failure because he is equipoised. So no wonder that all this has evoked intense curiosity in Arjuna's mind. He says to Lord Keshava, what are the characteristics of a person who has attained this samadhi? He is calling it samadhi. Paramatma never used the word samadhi, but he is calling it samadhi. Now we must note that nowhere in this shloka, Lord has used the word samadhi. Nirdandva, Nitya Satvastha, all that, but he never used the word samadhi. He has talked about intellect being equipoised, samatha, but has not used the word samadhi. But Arjuna is specifically using the word samadhi. Samadhistasya Keshava. This only reflects intelligent deduction done on the part of Arjuna. He has deduced 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. That means he knows that when intellect is in perfect equipoise, with no doubt, no confusion, then the intellect has become steel and firmly established in the truth. This is nothing but the state of samadhi. Only a person in samadhi can have this kind of attitude. So despite the eyes being open, the person performing all sorts of these actions, he or she is actually in the state of samadhi. See, Arjuna's curiosity is fired up because until now he has heard that either you are in the state of samadhi or you are performing karma. Samadhi karte hue karma karna. How is it possible? But it is the first time that he is hearing that it is possible to perform action while being in the state of samadhi. Because he is considering all those aspects as samadhi, remaining equipoised, doing nishkam. He thinks that this is like samadhi only. This is incredible and very, very stupendous. Bhagavad-Gītā is great from that point of view. It is a great revelation. And what a towering height of knowledge. Simply unparalleled, Bhagavad-Gītā. The Lord is saying that in fact, only such a human being who having attained samadhi performs actions can be called as Nishkama Karma yogi. Hence, the inquisitive Arjuna wants to know what such a person looks like. Who is taking such karma, who is doing such karma. As if he is doing karma in samadhi or what? How does he speak? How does he sit? How does he walk? And how is this all possible? Because either one performs karma or he remains in the state of samadhi. How he can remain in samadhi and do all this work? This is the question Arjuna is asking. Now let us see what God replies. Next sloka, sloka 55. Śrī-Bhagavānuvaco prajahāti yada kāmān sarvān parthamanogatān atmanyevatmanat tushtas sthitaprajnastadochyate. Lord says to Arjuna, when a man discards all his desires, prajahāti yada kāmān, and removes every desires entering into mind, mano agatan, entering into mind, kill it there only, from the root itself, and is self-satisfied in own self, he is said to be stable in wisdom. So he is the Sthita person. The intellect is contained after knowing one's real identity as being Atma. Then I, this I, inverted commas, got reflected into this intellect. And as a consequence, the intellect wanted to know who or what give it the ability to think, and finally it realizes that it is none other than the Supreme Chaitanya. That this is the Supreme Chaitanya is not separate from him. That I am the Supreme Chaitanya, Aham Brahmasmi. Let us try to understand this phenomena, how it works. With an example, imagine an earthen pot, matka, big one, which is continuously filled with water from the top. The pot has 5 holes in it, and the water is flowing out from 5 holes in 5 different canals. Sunlight is falling on the pot. In the water present in the pot, in the water streaming out through the 5 jets in 5 canals. The water is collected in the 5 canals, there also the sunlight is falling. So in short, the sunlight is everywhere. It is just that within water, in the pond, it is just seen as a round reflection of sun, whereas everywhere else it is as dispersed light. In the pod, you see the image of full sun, but everywhere else it is the scattered sun rays. Now let us bring this example to our reality, our life. The earthen pot is our body. The 5 holes are our 5 jnanendriyas, senses of perception, ears, eyes, nose, tongue and skin. The 5 canals are the 5 sense objects, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, with which the senses are interacting. Water in the pot is our mind. Just as the sunlight permeates the pot, water canals, likewise, the light of Supreme Parabrahma, it permeates your body, your mind, your senses, your sense objects, and your intellect. And just as the water in pot had a reflection of actual sun, the reflection of Supreme Parabrahma in your mind, intellect, is what you call as I. So that reflection of Parabrahma in your mind, that intellect, what you call as I. Now whether this I is real or not, that depends. Further we'll get clarification on this. So 56, Paramatma says, Dukkeshu nudvigramana sukeshu vigataspruhaha vitaragavayakrodhas titadir muniruchyate. So these are the further attributes of that Sita Prajna, about which Arjuna wanted to know. Not agitated by grief or hankering after pleasure. They live free from lust and fear and anger. According to Gita, the very texture of this life is one of the duality. This is the texture of our life. Pain and pleasure, success and failure, birth and death. Most of us want to isolate pleasure and take it home. Nobody wants to have pain. Everybody wants pleasure only. You want to rob the pleasure and keep it on their table in the house. Throw out the pain from the window. You don't want pain. This has been the hope of every ambitious person. But up to this day, no one has succeeded to take only pleasure and throw away the pain. When the pleasure comes, pain also comes. If you go after pleasure, honesty demands you cannot complain when you come across pain. If you do not want pain, do not go after the pleasure either. For common human beings, this experience of even-mindedness is not possible because mind behavior is caused and controlled by our karma samskar. It is a continuous process, embodying past and present actions and shaping the future of our mental tendencies. The usual worldly experience of pleasure and pain are felt owing to our ego, which means believing that we are this body. ये मैं हूँ. This is me. I am body, I am mind, I am senses. This ego causes all the problems. And in this, it is this ignorance, the lack of knowledge of our real self, which exposes us to the problems of pain and pleasure. A man who is detached and disciplined, who has experienced samadhi, he knows his real self and is untouched by these experiences caused by the worldly pairs of opposites. It is therefore he is even-minded and balanced. Dukkeshu nadvignamana, sukheshu vigadaspruhaha. Such a man, after coming out of samadhi, conducts his worldly duties more efficiently in a detached manner. He is called Sthitaprajna. Sthitaprajnastadochyate, the wise man. But do such people really exist in real life, who are remaining Dukkeshwara Dvignamana and Sukheshwara Vidaspraha? Let us hear this real life story of Lokmanya Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Tilakji used to publish in his paper Kesari. It is still published now, also in Pune. So one day Tilakji was sitting in his veranda writing an editorial for his daily Kesari. A villager came and he said, Tilak Maharaj, I have some work with you. I want your help in our village. There are some problems. People are fighting with each other for something. So I want you to come to our village and help us out. That was his plea to Tilak. So he was writing, Lokmanya Tilak was writing the editorial. He said, please wait for some time. Let me finish this editorial and then I will talk to you. I have to send this for printing now. So just hold on for a few minutes. He said, no, I have sufficient time. My return bus to the village is in the evening only. I have sufficient time. Please continue writing. So Tilak started writing again. After 5 minutes, a person came from within the house and he said to Tilakji, Dada, all preparations have been done. Now people are waiting for you. So this villager who had come as a visitor, he thought everything is ready for lunch. Lunch is being served and all people are occupying their seats and they are waiting only for Dada, that means for Tilak. So he said to Tilakji, Dada, you can go and have your lunch. I have a lot of time. I will wait here. Tilakji had finished his writing the editorial. He said, no, they are not calling me for lunch. My elder brother, this morning, he died because of plague. That time, like our COVID epidemic, in Pune, there was an epidemic of plague. And a lot of people lost their relatives. Tilak also lost his son. And he died on the same very morning. He had died. His dead body was lying in the house. And he was to be taken for cremation. And that person who came from within the house, he had called Tilakji for joining that cremation so that his body can be taken to the Vaikuntha Smashan Bhumi. That villager who came and he heard this from Tilak, he was in tears. This man's his son is died, his dead body is lying in the house, he is writing editorial, he is asking me what is my problem. What kind of person is he? This is Sthitaprajna. Whatever happens, whatever tragedy strikes you, you remain committed to your kartavya karma. Tilak's kartavya karma was to publish that newspaper every day without fail. His kartavya karma was to give a patient listening to the problems of people. He was doing both. So, life. We should see around us also. Probably we can find some such Sthitaprajna people around us also. Okay, next loka, 57. Yas sarvatrana visnehas tattat prapya shubham Na avinandati na dveshti tasya prajna pratishtita. Paramatma says, he who remains unattached under all conditions and worldly experiences, he is neither delighted at good nor dejected with evil. He has no ill will. Such a man is stable in his wisdom. It is the prajna. Lord says, such an individual, no matter where he goes in this material world, he stays unattached without any affection for anyone. Why? It is simply because he does not see anyone being separate from him. You will get attached, show your affection to someone only if you see that person as being other than you, distinct from you. But one who has formed conviction in the indivisibility of Atma, he sees his own self reflected in all minds, then how can I get attached to I? Everybody is I only. That does not mean that a jnani is insensitive or indifferent. Unattached does not mean indifferent or insensitive. He remains like the vast, spacious sky. He is not at all affected by whatever he gets, be it auspicious or inauspicious. The one who knows how to drive a car can drive it anywhere in the world, isn't it? He can drive through the busy roads without any problem. He's a good driver. On the other hand, what will you say to someone who says that I will drive the car only when the roads are clear or when there is a curfew in the city? Is it practical? Can you see clear roads today? Not possible. If someone says that his guru does not even look at women, then he is unattached, as is said in Geeta, you will assume that his guru's sexual desires would surface when he looks at women. That's why he is avoiding even looking at women. That is not unattached. That is not unattached. The one whose immune system is strong can eat the street vada pav also, isn't it? And would remain unaffected. On the other hand, those whose immune system is very weak, they will catch the infection even at the cleanliness of the places. They take distillery water every day, but even then they can catch infection. And one who is getting a tap water, he doesn't get infected. He has a strong immune system. The jnani is indifferent to all these external things of external world. He is not attached to a specific like or specific dislike. Now see where we stand as per this shloka. This should become our habit to read the message given in Bhagavad-Gītā by Lord Krishna and compare, introspect as to where we stand as compared to the expectation of God. You get aggrieved so easily. This person did not call me, that person ignored me. This is because your intellect is not equipoised, but rather it is agitated, it is confused. Hence you keep on getting wounded in your interactions with others. Sometimes you get elated when you are praised, and mind you, even this can cause a problem, because next time that same person does not accord you the same appreciation, you will get pained and disturbed. Last time बहुत तारीफ कर रहा था मेरी, आज कुछ बोला ही नहीं मेरे को. So this also causes a problem. But for those, the one who is firmly established in the supreme knowledge, he remains unaffected. Somebody praises him or somebody does not, he remains unaffected. Irrespective of whether he is lauded or he is condemned, he remains unaffected. He steers his car of spiritual life with equal skill. In all contradicting situations, traffic jam में भी कार चला लेता है. Our life is a traffic jam only. To drive our life in this traffic jam is a real skill. And such a person who is completely unaffected by the behavior of body, mind and senses, he knows the essence of Parabrahma. and thus attaining his highest supreme knowledge, he attains moksha. He can drive through the difficulties of life with this principle of Siddha Prajna, equanimity, Nishkam, what Geeta is saying in this adhyay. These are the distinguishing characteristics of a jnani, the one with a perfectly balanced and equanimous intellect, a Siddha Prajna. Paramatma calls it a person as the Prajna. Next sloka 58. Yada samvarde chayam kurmongaaniva sarvashah indriyani indriyartebhyastasya prajna pratishtita. God says, a tortoise withdraws its limbs and head within the shell when faced with the slightest of danger to the life. And this shell is very strong and resilient. Hence, once the limbs are tucked away under the shell, no one can harm them. The Lord says, the one who is firmly established in the Supreme Parabrahma, in God, he is able to withdraw his senses from the sense objects. Our senses are there, they will attract, invariably get attracted to the sense objects. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Eyes are there, they will continue to see. Ears are there, they will continue to hear. Isn't it? But we should be able to withdraw these senses, like the tortoise withdraws its limbs when it senses some danger. So these jnanis, when they sense some danger to their equanimity, their calmness, peacefulness of mind, their manashanti, they withdraw all the senses like the tortoise withdraws all its limbs and put it under the cover. So they are expert. So this example God is giving of tortoise, we need to remember it. We need to know how to withdraw, when to withdraw the senses from this material world so that we remain safe like the tortoise. One forgets Parabrahma when the mind is filled with ignorance. And when does this ignorance fill our mind? And when the mind gets filled with attachments, we forget Parabrahma that time. And when and why the mind gets filled with attachment? When you see others as separate from you and seek happiness from them. The jnani, on the other hand, he severs, he cuts off all relations with the outer world with the sword of vairagya, dispassion. Then he withdraws his senses and mind inward, and his intellect makes an unwavering conviction of its real identity, Atma Jnana. If you withdraw from the samsara, then only you can look within you. Then only it are possible for you to get Atma Jnana. So thus he becomes firmly established in the Supreme Parabrahma, which is within himself. The mind is stilled, calm, the intellect is stilled, calm, and then he opens his eyes and gets ready to interact with the external world. Now he has understood what this game is all about. And he has no fear whatsoever that he will get attracted to something and put himself in danger. He has understood the game of life, that attractions are invariably going to happen. How to withdraw? He has learned the technique like the tortoise. He has understood the game of life. He has learned to drive the car and can drive it fearlessly anywhere now. Even on the most crowded roads, he can drive the car. That means in the ugliest of situations with lot of kamanas, lot of bad things happening around, he can still steer out clearly. The Nishkama Karma yogi has no problem in playing the game of life at all. He has understood the game of life. Another very important message held in this shloka is that every time a seeker, his intellect starts to waver, he should immediately withdraw his senses like the tortoise, his mind, his intellect from the external world and move it inward. In the early days of the devotee's, the seeker's life, many times his intellect will become shaky. You are sitting in meditation, the mind will go and sit in the Pizza Hut. Happens. Also note, for the tortoise, the enemy was outside. The enemy was outside and tortoise had some sense of danger and then it withdrew all its limbs inside. For us, our own mind is our enemy. Enemy is not outside. For tortoise, enemy was outside. For us, our enemy is inside us. Our mind is our own enemy. Because all attachments, all aversions and desires are lurking in our own mind. This is your enemy and not anywhere else in the outside world. This is the difference between that tortoise and our case. Okay, next loka quickly, 59. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinah rasavrajamrhopyasya parandashpa nivartate. God says, see, God explains in this loka that mere withdrawal of senses from sense objects is not the mark of a man of Sita Prajna with steadfast wisdom. Something more is required. What is that? Sense objects cease to exist for him who does not enjoy them with his senses. But the taste, the rasa for them may persist somewhere in some corner of his antakarana, in his heart. Now he has stopped the interaction of senses with sense objects. But previously, he had enjoyed that. And some rasa, some sweet memory of that interaction of sense with sense objects is hiding somewhere deep in his mind, in his heart, which can prop up any time. If you want to really become a devotee, a Sthita Prajna, a yogi, you have to kill that memory from the subconscious mind as well. Otherwise, it can spring up any time and can derail you from your path of spirituality. God says that rasa has to be also killed. This relish also disappears from a man of stable mind. The Prajna has killed that rasa also when he realizes the Supreme Parabrahma. See, senses feed on sense objects. Just as you get satisfied on eating food, you get satisfied by gratification of each of your senses. Eyes are satisfied by feasting on some beautiful sights. Ears get satisfied on hearing some melodious sound, music. Nose gets satisfied on smelling some fragrant aroma. So in a way, nose feeds on fragrance, the eyes feed on sights and colors, and the ears feed on good sound, sweet sound. And when the senses are deprived of these sense objects of gratification, then that is in a way fasting of our sense organs. That is called fasting. And this is the actual meaning of keeping a fast. A fast does not mean simply not eating. It means fasting of all the sense organs. That is abstaining from seeking gratification from any sense objects is the real meaning of fasting. However, does the mind automatically really get quietened, stilled just by holding the senses back from the sense objects? Sri Krishna says no. This will not occur as long as the mind has attachments and attractions to the material world, or even the old memories of those sense gratifications which are hidden somewhere in the mind in subconscious intellect. So you may shut your eyes, but as long as the attraction of objective world exists in your mind, or from the memory of sweet memory of past are still existing in your mind, then no sooner the doors of sense organs get reopened, the mind will again run out to the phenomenal world. Can this enchantment for the objective world be ever eliminated from mind? Is it possible to kill that rasa which is hiding in our mind? Sri Krishna says that person who realizes God, who realizes the Parabrahma, who gets firmly established in the Supreme Chaitanya, his mind gets freed of all attractions and of all the rasa, all the sweet memories so-called of the past sense gratification. This is the only way. There is no other way to eradicate enchantment and attachment to this phenomenal world, to kill that rasa also. Only controlling your sense and sense object today may not help you in the long run. You have to kill that past memories also. So the Lord is saying that if you want to be free of all attachments, we need to do only one thing, and that is realize the God. Realizing the God, it takes care of everything then. Past memories, present control, mano nigra, indriya nigra, everything does. It does happen automatically once you realize the God. Do all that need to be done to attain the supreme divinity. Remove the great misunderstanding that you will first remove all attachments and then realize the God. It is not going to happen that way. Run after realizing the God and then everything will happen automatically. So you have to change the sequence. So you are sitting with your eyes closed. Suppose you want to say that I will realize the God, let me control my senses first. Forcefully you are suppressing your senses, trying to control your mind. But the moment you remove the restraint on your senses, before you know it, your mind would have gone, swept away in the pursuit of some sensory gratification. In a moment, the years of enforced celibacy, brahmacharya, vanishes into thin air. In fact, the more prolonged the sense deprivation is, the greater is the intensity and urge of sense gratification. When the restraint is removed, it comes back with vengeance. इतने दिन मेरे को रोक के रखा क्या, अभी दिखाता हूं मेरा मजा. Krishna says, transcending the compulsive need for sense gratification and eradicate all attachment from your mind is possible only when you realize the Supreme Parabrahma, the God. So realize the God and all these things will follow automatically. Now we'll take the last sloka of today, slok 60. Yatato ihapi kaunteya purushasya vipashchitaha indriyani pramadhini haranti prasabham manaha. Kaunteya, son of Kunti, powerful senses as they are, overpower even the determined minds of a keen sadhak who is keenly pursuing the cause of yoga for perfection. He wants to go sincerely, honestly on the path of yoga. This caution is for the ardent sadhak who has not yet succeeded in nirvikalpa samadhi. He is still trying to attain that. See, this wise person who is on the path of yoga is well aware of how strong and powerful are the senses. They literally overpower the mind. You may think 1,000 times that I will not do this, but the senses make you perform that very action. Mark Twain, he used to say jokingly, who says it is difficult to give up smoking? I have left it 100 times. I have left it 100 times. So you may sit with your eyes shut, forcibly controlling your sensory attractions. But the mind would probably create an imaginary form of the woman in front of your closed eyes also. So what is the use then? You manage to evade the woman outside, but how will you escape that woman who is created in your own mind now? Likewise, though you may have given in to fasting, however, such is the strong desire for delicious food that your mind creates images of all sorts of good food and you keep testing that food mentally. So this kind of things do not help, God says. Forcefully doing it does not help. Realize the God and these things will happen automatically. Powerful senses, they will drag you in some direction. If you have no control of your mind, the mind will get dragged by them in the direction which they want. The control will come not by force, not by restraint, but with God's grace. So let us try to realize the God, and then this control of senses, control of mind will follow. If you try to reverse the order and say that I will control my mind first and then the God will be realized, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. We will not be able to control our mind and our senses and then realize the God. We have to first go for realizing the God. Obstacles will come. You have to surpass them. Mind will keep wavering here and there. You have to cross that. Slowly but surely, the day we see the light of God in our own self, all attractions, all aversions will start disappearing. To follow the path of God realization, either through Karma Yoga, through Bhakti Yoga, or Jnana Yoga, whatever way. But run after it madly. Then only we can find the real peace of mind. Paramatma says, your senses, your mind is very powerful. A powerful sense can drag your mind in the direction that it wants. We'll discuss this in the next session. Thank you so much for listening. Jai Shri Krishna. Now the forum is open for you to raise your questions.
Thank you, Vaidya, for yet another enlightening session of Śrīmad-Bhagavadgītā. We learn to forgive for our own betterment, how to become Sthita-prajna slowly and steadily, and how important it is for us in our lives. We will once again brush up that we all need together to strongly do propaganda. As we have touched Gita ji in our lives, we should propagate it. And Krishna in Gita ji is only mentioned that such a Manushya is very priya to me, who is spreading my knowledge and he wants others to gain them. Vaidya, with your permission, can we please open this platform so that you can
Please,
address
please.
your queries? Kindly
Yes, please.
raise your hands for the same.
Feel free to ask your questions, please.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste.
May I request you to explain Sukshma Sharira? Does it exist in the body as we are living? And when it leaves the body, what does it take with it? Does it take the Paramatma, who is in us? And does it take our mind? And does it also carry the karma phala, which we accrue? And in the end, when we have to go through the karma phala, whether enjoying or suffering, is it the sukshma sharira that goes through all this? Because we don't have the indriyas with us to actually enjoy or suffer. So what exactly is this sukshma sharira, if you don't mind?
Okay, I get your point. You see, it's like this. When we are doing any karma, for example, we are discussing Bhagavad Gita. This is sattvic karma, isn't it?
Yes.
This is sattvic karma.
Yes.
Every karma that we commit, every karma that we do, one imprint of that karma goes in our antakaran.
Yes.
There are 3 bags in our antakaran. One is sattvic bag, one is rajasi bag, and third is tamasi bag. Sattvic karma's imprint goes and falls in the sattvic bag. Similarly, rajasi karma, rajasi bag, and tamasi karma in tamasi bag.
If I may interrupt, sir, what is antakarana?
Antakarana is your mind plus intellect, your heart plus intellect, I would say.
Okay.
So when you perform any karma, as I said, either it is sattva, rajo, or tamo. There are only 3 types of things.
Yes.
There is the 4th attribute.
Yes.
Okay. Now this sukshma sharir, as we discussed in today's one example of one fat Marwadi grocery shop owner, he leaves his body and all sorts of things.
Yes.
What happens is when the body is left by that prana, the chaitana, the sukshma sharir, it leaves the body. That is why the body cannot move. It is a sukshma sharir which gives energy to the gross body. Okay. And that sukshma sharir, when it leaves the body, it goes along with it. It carries along with, as an enclosed file, a balance sheet of all our karmas.
Okay.
And that sukshma sharir, depending upon the quality of our karmas, which are contained in these 3 bags, which are carried by the sukshma sharir, that account, that file which is enclosed to sukshma sharir, that decides what kind of body we are qualified to occupy in our next life.
Okay.
If that body is not immediately available according to our karmas, the sukshma sharir may have to wait. And when that body is available, then he can occupy that body and start his next life. That is why sometimes two unknown persons, they start liking each other fondly very much.
Yeah.
Because in their previous life, their Sukshma Sharir were knowing each other. Now their gross bodies are new. Their gross bodies don't know each other. But the Sukshma Sharir situated in their gross bodies, they are good old friends since last life. So they know each other very well. But the gross bodies are ignorant about it.
Yeah.
Sukshma Sharir, it incites that gross body to communicate with that person who may be unknown also.
Hmm.
So this is the effect of Sukshma Sharir. It
Okay.
carries our karma phalas, our karmas, an account of karmas to the next body.
Okay. And it also carries our gunas, the dominant guna that
Yes.
we.
Yes. Suppose your sattvic bag is full of sattvic, then you get a good body, good life. So that is the Sukshma Sharir which is carrying all these three bags.
Okay.
And that is what will offer you the next life. If
I
your
see.
sattvic bag is almost empty, Rajasi bag is almost empty, and Tamasi bag is full, then we go down the level. Then we
Okay.
may not be given life also.
Yes.
We may go below that.
Yes.
ऊर्ध्वं तत्वस्था मध्ये तिष्ठति राजसः जगन्यगुणवृत्तिस्थः अधो गच्छन्ति तामसः.
Yes.
What in Tadesha is this?
Yes.
So depends what bag we are carrying.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other questions, please? Sorry, I have taken a lot of time today, but a lot of sloks were to be covered. So I have taken a lot of time. If you have any questions, you can raise in the next session also, which I'm sure will not be as long as I had today.
Bhaiya, Subodhji has risen his hand. He's unmuted, I guess. Should
Yeah.
we take his question?
Yeah,
Jai Shri Krishna and pranam to you.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Sir, my question is, Pritha or Kunti has 4 sons. Karna, Pritha or Kunti has 4 sons. Karna, Yudhishthira, Bhima and Arjuna. But Arjuna is well known as Partha or Kunteya. Whether we can call Karna, Yudhishthira or Bhima as Partha or Kunteya?
They are not called as that. Karna is never called. Karna, on the contrary, is called Dasi Putra. Because he was not taken care of by Kunti. After Karna's birth, he was just dropped in the river and then he was taken by a maid and then she took care of him. So he was a Dasi Putra.
Okay.
This Shika, though he was the son of Kunti, but his title is Dharmaraj. His title is Dharmaraj.
Okay.
Similarly, Bhima is the most powerful of all Pandavas. So he is also Kunti Putra only. But he is not called as Kaunteya. Kaunteya's title is reserved only for Arjuna in Gita. Whenever Krishna says Kaunteya, it is invariably Arjuna only. He doesn't say Kaunteya to Yudhishthira or to Bhima. In fact, he has not said a single shlok to Bhima or to Yudhishthira also. All his communication in Gita is to Arjuna only. That is why the Kaunteya invariably means only Arjuna. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions, please?
Thank you, Bhaiya. Every word that you uttered brought so much clarity to our mind. We shall take this session ahead for our pradhana, which will be taken by Rakesh Singh Bhaiya ji, who hails from Mathura. He joined Geeta Pariwar in January 2023. He is a co-trainer and a teacher as well. Rakesh ji. Please take the prayer, Bhaiya.
Yes, Sri Krishna. Yogesham Satchidanandam Vasudevam Brajapriyam Dharma Samsthapakam Veeram Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Sri Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum.
Thank
Jai
you.
Shri.
Thank you for such a prayer. Thank you, Dada, for your such a guidance on the second chapter. Thank you, our host, Srinivas Bhaiya Golakati ji, who has hosted today's session. Thank you for all sadhaks for such interaction and interest in understanding Geeta ji. Once again, a happy Janmashtami नंद घेरा नंद भयो जय कन्हैया लाल की, हाथी घोड़ा पालकी जय कन्हैया लाल की. May we all imbibe Geeta ji in our lives and learn to live Geeta. It's time for Hanuman Chalisa.
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधारि बरन रघुबर बिमल जसु जो दायक फलचारि बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेश विकार. जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा गानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र औ ध्वजा विराजय कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजय शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगबंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर सहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुवीर हर्षि उर लाए रघुपति कीनी बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत ही समभाई सहस बदन तुम रोज सगावै अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावै सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिगपाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सके कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीना तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र योजन पर भानु लील्यो ताहि मधुर पल जानु प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाहि दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुमरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होतन आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज समारो आपै तीनों लोक हाकते कापै भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवै महावीर जब नाम सुनावै नासै रोग हरै सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावै मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावै सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा जिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावै सोई अमित जीवन फल पावै चारों जुग प्रताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नो निधि के दाता असबर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावै जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावै अंत काल रघुवर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई संकट कटई मिटई सब पीरा जो सुमिरै हनुमत बल बीरा जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई जो सत बार पाठ कर गोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई जो यह पढ़ हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरी सा तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुर भूप सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय.
See you all again at the next weekend for such one more enlightening session. Till then, Jai Shri Krishna.